Okay, here we go. If there are three terms and the number in front of x is 1, it says factor mentally. Well, I'm going to teach you how to factor a trinomial using what I call the x factor. Okay, so I want to remind you, when you have a trinomial that's quadratic, this is what standard form looks like. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to pull out your a value, which is going to be a 1, your b value, which is going to be a 15, and your c value, which is going to be 36. You're going to draw an x. Okay, it's a graphic organizer to help you factor. So on the top, you're going to take a times c, so 1 times 36. And on the bottom, you're going to put your b value, which is 15. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to try to think of two numbers that multiply to give you 36 and add to give you 15. So 4 times 9 is 36, but 4 plus 9 is not 15. We're going to use 12 and 3. They multiply to give us 36, and they add to give us 15. Okay, next thing you're going to do is you're going to put your a value on top. We're going to make a ratio. So 1 goes on top, 12 goes on the bottom. Do the same thing on this side. Your a value goes on top, and your number goes on the bottom. Now we're ready to write our factors. So the answer is going to be 1x, and this is a positive 12, so plus 12. 1x, doing the other one, 1 goes with the variable, plus 3. Now if this had been a negative 3, it would be minus 3. And so these are your factors. Okay, let's try number 14. Okay, so a times c goes on the top, so that's going to be 1 times negative 14. The b value goes on the bottom, negative 5. So two numbers that multiply to give us negative 14, and they add to give us negative 5. So 7 times 2 is 14. We want it to be negative, so one of these has to be negative. Okay, so we want the 7 to be negative. When we multiply, we get negative 14. When we add, we get negative 5. Write our ratios. The a value goes on top. The factor goes on the bottom. The a value goes on top. The factor goes on the bottom. And now we're ready to write our factors. So 1x minus 7, 1x plus 2. Pretty easy, right? Okay. I'd like you to try number 13 for tomorrow. Okay, moving on. It says factor each of the following completely. Well, what you want to do here is we want to look at the three numbers and notice we can factor out a 3. So 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 3 goes into 45 15 times. Always look to see if you can factor out something. Now, we're going to factor this. So now the 3 is a separate factor. So we're going to factor what's inside the parentheses. So this is going to be 1. So 1 times 15, 8 on the bottom. Okay, so multiply, add. So we're going to use 3 times 5 is 15. 3 plus 5 is 8. Put our a value on the top. Factor on the bottom. So here we go. Don't forget your 3. So 3, 1x plus 3, 1x plus 5. Okay? Always remember though, when you're looking at all of these problems, what can I factor out? And if it's negative, you need to factor out a negative. In this case, we would factor out a negative 5x. So, factor out that negative 5, write this down, what you have left. Remember, factoring means to divide. And then go ahead and use the x to factor what's in here. So I'm looking for 13 and 16 tomorrow. All right, I hope you're having a good night.